And good morning, everybody. Welcome, Hot Takes, Goodman and Haertl. How are you, my friend?
I am well. Countdown to kickoff is on. We got the Nuggets winning basketball games with a very patchwork lineup, and the Avs still haven't lost a game at home in regulation. So there we go.
Before we jump into the meat of the show, which is mainly Broncos,
Sure.
want to get into that Nuggets game last night. Not so much that they won and they beat a bad team. Jamal goes off for 35. Peyton Watson scores 31, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. I'll be the first to put it out there that I said near the beginning of the season, I'm just not confident in this guy. I don't know if I'm one of the few guys who will admit when he's wrong. I mean, everybody wants to toot their own horn and tell you when they're right. I wasn't a big Peyton Watson fan. After watching this guy in January, he is averaging 25 points a game, roughly, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, and a block. That is the course of 7 games. Using Sean Payton's words, what is Peyton Watson doing?
Thank you so much.
Using Sean Payton's words, it's demonstrated ability.
Oh, right. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Sure.
With that, they gave a contract during the offseason to Christian Braun. Peyton Watson is going to be a restricted free agent at the end of the season. Very rarely do guys sign with other teams when they are restricted free agents. But also very rarely do guys average 25 points a game, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, and a block, and also play the type of defense that he does. I don't see how they bring him back at 23 years old unless they find a way to get really creative. And that guy looks like, offensively and defensively, he is a solid core piece, if not even higher than that.
Yeah, it creates a bit of a conundrum, doesn't it? I mean, when all of a sudden, and look, Jalen Pickett is showing signs of life.
This isn't about Jalen Pickett. This is a guy who on the open market would get 25 to 30 million a season, if not higher, in Peyton Watson. This isn't, and Jalen Pickett has grown as well. You can make the case, even though Christian Braun is a better defensive player than Jalen Pickett, would you really have a problem with Jalen Pickett taking Christian Braun's place in the lineup, honestly?
Well, no. I mean, I think I'd probably be okay. I mean, he's more of a point than a shooting guard. So, you've got that delineation. But getting back to Peyton Watson, it has created an issue that you're going to have to deal with because.
Well, let me throw the issue at you.
Sure.
The trade deadline's next week.
No,
you're going to lose him, next month. Mm-hmm. You are going to lose him for nothing. Nothing. Some other team will give him a deal. I have very little doubt. And, oh, by the way, looking at the Nuggets cap situation with all the guys they currently have coming back next year, they are $1.2 million under the second apron. Mm-hmm. It would be impossible to bring him back unless they start moving guys off the roster at the trade deadline, like Cam Johnson, which would be incredibly ironic considering he was the key piece in the MPJ deal. However, by trading Michael Porter Jr., you freed up money to bring in Bruce Brown, Tim Hardaway Jr., Valanciunas. What would you do? Would you trade Cam Johnson? Knowing he's 29 and Peyton Watson is 23?
I mean, Peyton Watson's playing for me. And you got to figure it out. And economically, obviously, that's where the jigsaw puzzle comes into place. Yeah, you're going to have to do some, as you just said, very creative things for a player that has been on the come, but now has arrived full flush.
Yep.
I mean, he's the player of the week in the NBA, for God's sakes. I mean, right. So, he is a legitimate starting piece for most NBA teams. He may be, and
for all NBA teams. Yeah. Who doesn't want a guy who's averaging 25 points a game? And again, this is not a fluke. I mean, he had a game earlier this season. He scored over 30. This guy is coming, and he's 23. Remember, the Nuggets drafted him out of UCLA, and he was averaging 2 points a game.
Yeah.
Calvin Booth is looking better and better, and I am seriously wondering, what did Michael Malone not see in some of these guys? And if people want to look at me and say, well, you saw him in practice. No, I didn't. Nobody sees these guys in practice.
Right.
We see them shooting free throws before we talk to the players and Michael Malone.
We see the players more in pregame workouts on days they're going to play than we do in practice.
Correct.
And that's where you get your eyes on guys. And even then, you're only seeing them shoot more than anything else. You're not seeing them being competitive and stuff. So so all of this stuff is new to us. But Peyton Watson is a guy, and it becomes incumbent upon the Nuggets to do what they need to do to keep their guys.
So what do they do?
I don't know. That's a great question.
Do they? And now listen, if you trade him at the deadline, you're seriously hurting your chances to win another title.
Oh,
and if you do trade him at the deadline next month, you have to probably bring back expiring salaries, right?
Yeah.
In order to stay under that second apron. You willing to trade Cam Johnson? Because he's making about 20. Next year, he'll make about 23.
Probably. I mean, really, when you look at the options or lack of options that they have, you have to be bold. I don't know how anyone at this point couldn't have full confidence in Peyton Watson to continue to be the player that he has become. He scores. He not only scores, but he scores and shoots at a high percentage.
You know what his 3-point percentage is this month? Nearly 49%.
Yeah. I mean, you can't ask for anything better from a pro.
Dude is balling, and could you imagine if he leaves during this offseason, a guy that they nurtured and tried to help get better at 23 years old? Can you imagine this guy becoming a star in the league?
Well, yeah, you can imagine it, and that's why you got to do whatever you can do to make sure that he's on your roster. Eric, he got to the line 9 times last night.
Right.
I mean, he does. He can shoot from outside. He can get to the basket. He's good on the offensive and defensive glass.
Yeah.
He sees the floor and finds open guys. He doesn't turn the ball over.
No, he turns the ball over at a pretty high rate.
Well, he does.
That he does. He turns the ball over actually quite a bit. He's over 3 turnovers a game.
Yeah, but he's averaging he's averaging, as long as he is somewhere in the close to 2 to 1 range in terms of his
but he's not a primary ball handler. He shouldn't be turning the ball over that much. And honestly, that's like saying, and I know I'm going to the Wayback Machine, that's kind of like saying with the way he's playing, well, Cindy Crawford has that mole on her face, so she's really not that attractive.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you would like better than a 1-to-1 ratio on assists to turnovers, and that's kind of where he is.
Yes.
Last night he turned it over twice. He had 5 assists. You will take that ratio all day long. Those are areas that he's got to probably improve in.
Yes.
But you can live with. I mean, if he is playing 29 minutes a game, you can live with 1.5 turnovers.
Want to tell you about the Sportsbook Bar and Grill, DTC, Parker Highlands Ranch. I'll be going there tonight with a buddy of mine. Not because there's necessarily a game on, it's because the food is great. And he even said to me, he goes, I have never been there. I've heard great things about it. Would love to go. So we're actually going to go to the Highlands Ranch location. Looking forward to it. It is a great place to watch sports. And while, last weekend, starting last Thursday, it was 5 consecutive days of football. We have 3 consecutive days of football, starting with the Broncos, on Saturday, and then with the national championship game on Monday, plus Nuggets and Avs and all that good stuff. Again, it's a friendly place to go. You see a lot of the same people there. Very cool, but you see new faces as well. Menu is great. The setup is fantastic. There are TVs everywhere. Every seat is a great seat in the house. Sportsbook Bar and Grill, you can find them in the DTC, Highlands Ranch, and Parker. Time now for the lead.
The lead is presented by Sasquatch Casino, a family-owned casino that treats you like family.
12 players on the Bills injury report. And the reason why I say 12 is I'm not including the guys who are on the report but fully participated in practice. So 7 were limited for the Bills. 5 did not practice. Many of those players are stars, including Josh Allen, who is limited because of injuries to his foot, knee, and right finger. I mean, when you look at the box when we get it by email, it doesn't have any room left.
No. Yeah, they've used all the ink up.
Right? On the flip side, Broncos, well rested, have 3 total players who were limited. Greenlaw, Kroll, Drew Sanders. I'm guessing Greenlaw is trending to play.
Oh, he is, yeah.
With that, can you make the case the Broncos have no excuses losing on Saturday, considering they're incredibly healthy compared to the Bills? They've had time to rest and prepare, and they have the home field advantage.
Those are all very nice advantages to have. It is not the
They're the number 1 seed. What you keep banging the drum on. They won 14 games.
Right.
They're winning close games. They're winning in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
They had the best record in the AFC. They have one of the best defenses in the league. And oh, by the way, they're healthy compared to the Bills. They've had time to rest, and they have the home field advantage. They have all the advantages going in, minus not having Josh Allen.
Yeah, and you still got to go play football.
I get it, but they have. But right. When you look at a P&L, when you look at
nice,
okay, or let's go to the Wayback Machine with NFL Today with Jimmy the Greek when he had that list, right, and then he had a check when he said like offense, check to this team, defense, check to this team on the other side. All the check marks go positively on the P side for the Broncos, except for quarterback. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say James Cook.
Well, yeah, since he runs the best rushing game in the National Football League.
Yes.
Let me repeat that. The Buffalo Bills have the number 1 running game in the National Football League. They're going to be, because of injuries that have decimated their receiving core, to my way of thinking, or my way of anticipation, they're going to be in a lot of heavy sets this weekend. And I think that they are going to run the ball, and they're going to run the ball early, often, and late. Now, they didn't run the ball well in Jacksonville and still found a way to win a game because they were +1 in turnovers, and Josh Allen basically willed this football team to a win with his feet more than he did even his arm. James Cook rushed for 3 yards a carry in the game against Jacksonville.
Jacksonville has the number 1 rush defense in the league.
Yeah. So, and
I'm sure the Texans.
The Broncos aren't far behind. I mean, the Broncos are like 3rd or something like that, 2nd, 3rd against the run. But this is going to be for me, as we sit here on Wednesday. It is Wednesday, right?
It is Wednesday.
Thank you.
Yep.
As we sit here on Wednesday, this is a game that will be clearly played at the line of scrimmage in the trenches, both sides. This to me is, since we're talking about throwback games, this is about as throwback as I think you can get. Whoever controls line of scrimmages, and it's usually the case, but I think it is amplified this weekend. Can the Broncos run the ball against the 28th ranked rushing defense in the National Football League? The Bills are this really weird team defensively. They're number 1 against the pass. They're number 28 against the run, and they're like 15. So they're right in the middle in points allowed. Now, these are all just metrics, right? These are all just numbers. But over the course of 17 regular season games, you start to get a sense for what you're dealing with. Here's another one for you. Josh Allen is 0-3 in games that he has sacked 4 or more times. There's going to be all kinds of numbers like this that start to come out, but they're all based in what happens at the line of scrimmage. And I think that is going to be huge this weekend, because I think the Broncos desperately want to create pressure, constant pressure, and they want to get to Josh Allen to not allow him to get going. And obviously the Bills want to be able to run the ball. Oh, and by the way, the Broncos need to be able to run the ball. And they need to be able to run the ball outside the tackles, where the Bills are, at least historically, they're most vulnerable.
With that, okay, and this sounds like a bad thing for the Bills, and it is to a certain extent. But you can also make the case what I'm about to say is really bad for the Broncos as well. The Bills have 3 healthy wide receivers.
Yeah.
That's it. Shakir, Brandon Cooks, Keon Coleman, right? 3 healthy guys. Sounds bad for the Bills, doesn't it? Let me tell you where it's bad for the Broncos.
Oh, I like it for the Bills.
3 wide receivers?
Well, I mean,
hold on.
They're just going to be in heavy sets. I
Bingo.
think they're true to who they are.
They're going to have 2 tight ends out there. 2 wide receivers, 2 tight ends. So as bad as it sounds for the Bills, you want them to have 3 wide receiver sets. And they don't even have the personnel to even do it. Consistently.
And on one hand, it sharpens the focus of what you have to take away for Vance Joseph and that defense. I mean, you only have little brief glimpses of this matchup. I mean, last year, the Bills ran the ball at will against the Broncos. James Cook was a huge factor in a 31-7 blowout. He wasn't a big factor in the game against Jacksonville, but the Bills still won the game. They only ran for 79 yards. They had other ways to beat you. And that probably boils down to Josh Allen and what this guy does for a football team. I mean, you know, a 7-yard quarterback sneak. I mean, that's what this guy does. He just puts this team on his shoulders and finds way to help them win football games. But he's got some kryptonite and pressure getting to him. These are the types of things that the Broncos absolutely have to do. If they can't impose their will at the line of scrimmage defensively, in particular in this game, it's going to be much harder to win. And that means pressure against Josh Allen and trying to keep that running attack and James Cook in check, much like the Jaguars did.
By the way, you know, one way to disrupt a quarterback is just to keep hitting him.
Yes.
Just keep hitting him. And you know what the beauty of playing against Josh Allen this week is? You got 3 choices on where you want to hit.
Yeah.
Because he's injured in 3 different areas.
But that dude,
he's tough.
That dude is maybe the toughest hombre playing quarterback in the National Football League, and maybe the toughest we've ever seen.
Generally speaking, when you talk about bulletin board material, it comes directly from the other team. Bills are not putting out any bulletin board material.
No.
However, nationally, there is bulletin board material all over the place. And Sean Payton says, I'm not going to even mention that stuff to my team. Should he? That's next.
Ever wondered where city and county fleet vehicles go when they retire? Now's your chance to find out and score big. Imagine driving away with a great deal on a reliable vehicle. For over 45 years, Roller Auction has been the trusted source for government fleet vehicles and equipment. Trucks, SUVs, sedans, and more, all selling to the highest bidder. Don't miss out. Visit roller.bid/hot takes to get auction updates today. Your next vehicle could be just a click away.
Everyone has their favorite barbecue spot. Mine, Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew. My favorites, slowly smoked ribs, smoked corned beef Reuben, smoked meatloaf with a portobello balsamic cream sauce. Don't forget about Smokin' Dave's 16-hour smoked brisket and pork with one of their 4 homemade barbecue sauces. Great sides, you bet. Barbecue beans made with pork and brisket and their southern corned bake. Man, you gotta try it. Plus, they have amazing non-barbecue entrees on the menu. Go where I go, Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew in North Denver.
Ferguson's Heating and Cooling is the best in Denver, and their customers agree. Ferguson's has 165 5-star Google reviews, and here's one from Betsy. Highly professional, prompt, and honest. I switched to Ferguson's when I became aware my former company was trying to sell me a whole new system I didn't need. Ferguson's is an honest, working, family-owned business that'll give you a fair price, the highest quality parts and equipment, and they always show up on time. You can trust the Ferguson family like you trust your own family. Go to fergusonsheatingandcooling.com.
Sasquatch and Wildcard are the best casinos to play in Blackhawk. They've got really loose slots, daily cash drawings, and the best promotions. Sasquatch and Wildcard have given away cars, trucks, and recreational vehicles. And if you don't want them, no problem. They'll give you the cash value instead. Who does that? No one in Blackhawk. Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos, a family-owned casino that treats you like family.
Everyone has their favorite sports bar. Mine, the Sportsbook Bar and Grill in Highlands Ranch, DTC, and now in Parker. All their locations are everything a sports bar should be. An upscale menu with 12 different burgers, outstanding wings, and my favorite, the Philly cheesesteak egg rolls. They've got every game on the NFL Sunday Ticket, MLB Extra Innings, NHL Center Ice, NBA League Pass, plus soccer, rugby, and UFC. Sportsbook, great hangout bar, great for private parties. The Sportsbook Bar and Grill in Highlands Ranch, DTC, and now in Parker. They are the sports bar. And welcome back. Hot Takes Goodman and Haertl. Want to tell you about Ferguson's Heating and Cooling. I've worked with them for a couple of times, and they are so consistent. When we've called, they have been out here hours later. They have not sold us stuff that we don't need. They worked on our hot water heater. They worked on our furnace as well. The pricing was fair. I was not here either time Mandy was here. She said her experience was great. She gave them a 5-star review, not because they work with us on the show. It's because they deserved a 5-star Google review. They do amazing work. I love the fact that they don't sell you stuff that you don't need. And I know of way too many companies that do that, because essentially your your tech guy that comes out to fix it is a sales guy as well. You just don't know that, because your tech guy makes more money if he sells you something that you don't need. That's not the way it works. At Ferguson's Heating and Cooling, they are a family-owned business. Go check them out, and you will not be disappointed. Ferguson'sHeatingandCooling.com. That's Ferguson'sHeatingandCooling.com. Time now for What's Trending.
What's Trending is presented by Ferguson's Heating and Cooling. Your family should trust the Ferguson family for all your heating and cooling needs, and you'll see why they have over 165 5-star Google reviews. Make an appointment today at Ferguson'sHeatingandCooling.com.
Depending on which betting app that you go with, the Broncos are underdogs, they are favorites, they are money line. I don't know if I've ever seen a game where it has gone all three ways.
It's weird.
It's really, really weird. With that, plenty of guys in the locker room yesterday were asked about being underdogs according to certain, betting apps. They said they had absolutely no idea. So with that, they are underdogs with some betting apps, but they just added a couple of things to their nobody respects us against the world narrative. NFL.com ranked the Broncos number 7 out of the final 8 teams to win the Super Bowl. Add to that, the Broncos were the favorite to win the AFC a little over a week ago, before Wild Card Weekend. Now they are behind the Patriots and the Bills, who will be in town on Saturday, and that's according to DraftKings. Do you understand why the Broncos are falling out of favor with so many people nationally and sports books and things like that? And do you agree with it?
Well, I can see why quick glimpses and not really getting into the depth of a football team would allow people to say, oh, yeah, well, I mean, look how they don't do this offensively. They don't sustain this offensively. I mean, I can see that if you just take a glimpse at what you're talking about and you don't take a deep dive into how this football team got to 14-3. Yeah, I mean, I can live with that. I can live with the Bills coming in here as a slight favorite. I probably trust the odds makers more than I do the national voices out there that pay attention only when it suits their narrative. But how much that is going to make a difference in the way that this football team approaches this opportunity, I don't know. Maybe that's the type of thing afterwards that we'll get more of a gauge on. Here's what I would say about it. And I'm not, college rah-rah or Harry High School on this. I mean, I'm really not. I think that this kind of stuff is generally overrated. But here's what I would say in this case. You're one of 8 teams still playing in the National Football League. You're playing at home with a chance to go to the AFC Championship. I don't care what the hell it is that motivates you. Whatever it is, it can be big, small, it can be personal, it can be something that generally the rest of us would think is innocuous. But if it's important to you and it rubs you the wrong way and it stokes those competitive fires a little hotter, great. Go get it. I don't care what it is. Be ready to go on Saturday and play your best in a game that you're going to have to play your best in.
Sean Payton said yesterday he's not reminding his team that they are underdogs according to some sports books. With that, do you believe him? And if you were a head coach, would you remind your team that nobody believes in you?
Probably subtly. I don't think it would be something or other like, hey, this is what we're going to talk about. That's been the theme all year long, Eric. I mean, you and I have talked about this right from jump. And really, the theme has never changed very much. Yeah, begrudging respect for a team winning a lot of games. And they were winning. I mean, they won a lot of games in a row. I mean, you've got to give a team begrudging respect, but the way that they won, and here we are getting back to the manner in which they're winning, not the fact that they're winning, and that means something more to some people than it does to others. Okay, I get that, but to me, this has kind of been the theme all season long, that the Broncos are they've had a really good season, but right? And fill in the blank. Usually it starts with the offensive inconsistency, offensive inability, etc. But, they've found ways to get it done in spite of themselves almost. If that can be a theme that drives you, great. I don't think it probably will be front and center because Sean Payton's he's got plenty of things to deal with in the preparation of getting ready for this football team.
I think one of the greatest things he did was in New Orleans when he brought in a Super Bowl trophy and a forklift pallet stacked with cash and said, you can have all this if you win 3 games in a row.
Yeah.
And Michael Thomas, by the way, because this was a picture on social media, and Michael Thomas quote tweeted it and said, yeah, that actually happened. Yeah. I thought that was great. Honestly, if I'm Sean Payton, I'm constantly reminding the players. I'd put notes in the locker saying, nobody believes in you. You're not that good, according to everybody else. Are you?
Yeah.
Are you? Are you really that good? Are we really that good?
I think it's clearly got to be part of the narrative, and how loudly I think it's just I think it's just something that this team has lived with.
Yeah.
And yeah, I really do. And like I said, if it's something or other that can help to motivate them, great. You live with it. I'm fine with it. At this point, pull out any stops that you've got and get after it.
I have a number of friends who are Bills fans because I used to live in Buffalo.
Right.
I cover the Bills. I have relatives who grew up in Buffalo, have lived in Buffalo, huge Bills fans. And they will all tell you, this is one of the worst rosters Josh Allen has had over the last 5 years. You agree?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, if you compare the last 5 years, yeah.
Specifically
still a
at
good
the
football
wide
team.
receiver position.
Yeah, still a good football team.
They're a good football team, but
Yeah.
they are more just Josh Allen now. And James Cook.
Yeah.
Milano's terrific, but he's always injured. Jordan Poyer, I don't know if that guy's going to play.
Yeah.
I love me some Dalton Kincaid, but is Shakir really a number one wide receiver on most teams?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Probably not. No, I would agree. Yeah, but and I think that what we're seeing with the Bills right now is as much a indicator of the respect that Josh Allen has as a talent and as a leader.
Oh, great leader.
I mean, he is. Bo Nix. Well, Game always recognizes Game, and Bo Nix was. It wasn't like he was breathless, but I mean, the respect that he has for what this guy Josh Allen does is next level. And how couldn't it be for anyone, right? I mean, the guy hasn't gotten to a Super Bowl. The guy hasn't obviously won a Super Bowl because he hasn't been able to get to one. But every other box, this guy has checked with a Sharpie. I mean, he does everything that you can ask from a player to help you win a football game. It's unbelievable. And they will line up around the block to follow this guy. And it's the most intriguing part of this football game.
I root for certain guys.
Yeah.
Certain guys who potentially will have the narrative when they retire, greatest player to never win the Super Bowl. I want them to win it because I can't stand that narrative.
Yeah.
The two most famous guys I can think of that have that scarlet letter are Dan Marino and Charles Barkley.
Yeah.
Two of the greatest players to never win a championship. If Josh Allen never wins a title, will he be compared to Dan Marino, and will that be accurate?
If he never wins a title.
Yep.
Yeah. Because I mean, we talk about it in golf all the time, right? I mean, it's the best player to have
never
won a major, right? So that's kind of who we are, and that's of course, when you're talking about two players who not even arguably will be in the top 10 discussion of greatest quarterbacks of all time, probably from now to eternity, and they're the only two that haven't won a Super Bowl, that will always be the postscript, right? That'll always be the asterisk.
So right now, I would say the guy, sadly, who sits on top of the mountain as the greatest player to never win a championship is Dan Marino. Charles Barkley is number 2. Where would you put Josh Allen with those other two? If he never wins one, is he number 1 on the list, number 2 on the list, or number 3 on the list?
Well, I think
knowing Marino and Barkley are already there.
I think he'll be number 1 on the list.
I agree.
I do. And look, the Buffalo Bills are playing in the divisional round of the playoffs, I think for the 6th or 7th straight year. I'm pretty sure, I think it's 6 straight years they're playing in the divisional round. They have been at the top of relevance in the National Football League really for 6 years. Now, they haven't won an AFC championship. They've gotten there, but they haven't been able to get to the big game. They haven't gotten to a Super Bowl. But you can set your watch to the Buffalo Bills. And while you're right, and your friends and your cadre are right back in Buffalo, this may be the weakest, and this is a relative statement. It may be their worst roster in 5 years.
Yep.
But how often do you end up seeing a team that you look at and say, this is probably, maybe in the last 5, 6, 7 years, it's their worst roster, but they end up going the furthest. I mean, right. You see examples of that all the time. So it's not a team that you sleep on necessarily, but you better not sleep on the quarterback, because this quarterback is the kind of guy that can beat you with his ability. And there aren't many quarterbacks in this league that can do that. Period.
Now, in all fairness to Dan Marino, and I would put Josh Allen on top of Marino for this reason, because he can do it with his arm and he can do it with his legs.
Yeah.
Dan Marino could single-handedly beat you from the pocket. Josh Allen can single-handedly beat you from the pocket and out of the pocket. Dan Marino, in my opinion, authored the greatest single season in the history of football as a quarterback. Back in the 1980s, you rarely had guys completing over 60% of their passes.
Right.
Rarely did you have guys who had quarterback ratings that were over 90. I mean, just go look at John Elway's stats. You want to people, John Elway, and they'll say this in Denver, greatest quarterback of all time. Go look at his numbers. And while numbers don't mean as much as wins, and I get it, John Elway was like a lot of other quarterbacks in terms of stats throwing the ball. Just to put this out there, in an era where quarterbacks could be beaten up at will, cornerbacks could basically tackle you on the field as a wide receiver and a flag would not be thrown. Those are two reasons how the game is different today compared to back then. How do you like this season? His second season ever. He completed 64% of his passes, which back then it might as well have been 71% today.
Yeah.
He passed for over 5,000 yards, which would be 6,000 yards today. 48 touchdowns, which would have been to like 65 touchdowns today, and a quarterback rating of 109, which would be a quarterback rating of about 120 to 125 today. Dan Marino, with his release and everything, technically is arguably, if not the greatest quarterback of all time.
And when you talk about what he could do surgically, even in the game then, can you imagine the freedom of how he would play now with the
quick release?
Oh my God.
Impossible to be sacked because he was so quick with that ball out of his hands. With that, people would say, how in the world would you put Josh Allen in Dan Marino's category? Because Josh Allen has stayed healthy.
Yeah.
Basically like Marino before he tore his ACL, and does so many things to beat you.
Yeah.
Yes, I would put him on top of the list, but I guess the question is, when it's all said and done, if he never wins a Super Bowl, would he be top 10 of all time? Would he be top 5 of all time? Not top 5. Got to win Super Bowls.
Yeah. I think.
People want to talk about. Josh Allen is closer to John Elway, for sure.
Yeah.
Than he is Dan Marino. And I people could debate this. For as strong of an arm as John Elway had, Josh Allen is right there.
Oh my
For
God.
as great of a runner
Yeah.
and a scrambler as John Elway was, and he was, Josh Allen is bigger, thicker, and would plow you over as well.
245, and he can run. He's just a load, man.
Did you see the tush push at the 9-yard line against Jacksonville?
I mean, even Sean was mesmerized by it yesterday.
Right.
He had never seen anything like that before. No, he is a remarkable player, and he's one of maybe 3 guys in the league right now that can actually elevate a team with the things that he can do from behind center to will a team to win, much like he did in the game against Jacksonville. I mean, yes, and this won't get a lot of play. They were magical on 3rd and 4th down. I think they were like 9 of 14 or 9 of 15 on 3rd and 4th down. And people, they think of the Bills, they think of James Cook running the ball. Well, he didn't run the ball. They had to figure out other ways to do things, but they were still successful on 3rd and 4th down. They won the turnover battle. And Josh Allen, who only averaged 3 yards a carry, still scored 2 rushing touchdowns, including the game winner in the last 2 minutes. All this guy does is figure out ways to help his team win. And convention gets thrown out the window with this guy. Everyone calls him Superman. They call him Superman because he's willing to win in any way that is offered to him. He doesn't have to do it in a typical fashion. You give him an inch, he's going to take a mile.
And here's the funny thing. As I am gushing over Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes is better.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes is one of those guys too.
Yeah.
Mahomes, Lamar Jackson has that ability as well. I don't think quite to the level as
I know he's
Allen
a two.
and
I know
Mahomes,
he's a.
right.
I know he's a 2-time MVP,
And
I totally get it. But Mahomes is in his own category. Yeah. He gets to go into the special room in the Hall of Fame with Manning and Brady, in which they get 100-year-old scotch.
Yeah, he's on Rushmore. I mean, he's onto the 4 faces of the NFL, right? I mean, right now, absolutely. And I do want to see more of Patrick Mahomes, and don't bet against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. I would guess that they will be relevant again next season. Got to love playing that 3rd place schedule, right? And that makes a huge difference. Don't think that it doesn't. The Broncos have largely climbed the ladder back to relevance, playing a 3rd and 2nd place schedule. It is an advantage. It's supposed to be an advantage because that's the way the NFL is built. They want competitiveness. They want teams to be very similar. Not a lot of margin for difference between the best and the worst. That's the way the NFL is set up.
I'm going to flip it around, and believe me, if you're a Broncos fan, you should not be complaining. But the Broncos picked the wrong year to win the division because they're slated against the NFC West, which is by far and away the most dominant division in football. And then they get on their calendar next year the rest of the division winners.
Yeah. No, yeah. They're playing, I think the number's 10, right?
10 playoff teams.
10 playoff teams.
Or 10 games against teams that have made the playoffs. Because remember, they're getting the Chargers twice.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but you know what? That's why you give and I know that it's not widely done in Broncos country. That's why you have to respect the Kansas City Chiefs, because the Kansas City Chiefs have done all of this, everything that they've done here in the last 7-8 years, they've done with number 1 schedules. It's pretty remarkable.
Here's something else to throw out there. Of all the impressive numbers that we have seen, with the Broncos this year. With the number 10, they have 10 games against playoff teams, right? We can go on and on and on. The number that still makes me take a double take every time is the number 31. That's where they're picking in the draft.
Yeah.
5 years ago, the Broncos picking 31st. Are you kidding me? Thank God for the Seahawks where they're not picking 32nd.
Yeah, no kidding.
That to me is a double take
Yeah.
every time I look at the draft order.
Yeah, no question about it. There will be time to reflect on this season and what it's meant.
Yeah.
It has been an absolutely remarkable rise to power. They've gone beyond relevance. Now they're one of the potential power brokers in the National Football League. Now you got to build it from one season to the next.
Right.
But they've done that, Eric. They've gone from 8 to 10 to 14. We know about the leadership, the ownership, the administration. We know about the roster. We know about their plan. We know about the people they have in place to enlist this plan. It should only get better for the Denver Broncos, but it's going to get tougher. It's going to get tougher.
I might be off a game or two, and I get it. But this is why in the NFL, you can go from worst to first. The Patriots, last place schedule. Now, granted, they have Vrabel, they have McDaniels, Drake May has taken off. The Patriots won how many games this year?
They won 14 in the regular season.
And how many did they lose last year? The Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
How many games they lose last year? How many games they win this year?
Yeah.
It's all flipped. Ben Johnson has a lot to do with it. But you can take that magic carpet ride up the elevator to the top pretty quickly if you have the right pieces in place, specifically who you're playing on your schedule the next year. That's what I'll be most curious to see, because it feels like when you watch, whether it's Fox or NBC or CBS, the Bills and Chiefs are always featured.
Yeah.
Why? Because every week it feels like a huge game.
Mm-hmm.
It's not because we're dying to get Mahomes on. We're dying to get Allen on. And yes, that's a huge draw. But every year, it feels like the Bills play the Chiefs.
Yeah.
The Chiefs play the Ravens. The Ravens play the Bills. And they're always unbelievable matchups. And now for the Broncos, that's what they will have next year. I have zero doubt for Monday Night Football or for Sunday Night Football, you're going to see the Broncos against the 49ers, the Broncos against the Seahawks, the Broncos against the Rams, the Broncos against the Patriots, and it goes on and on and on. They're going to have so many marquee games next year.
In closing for me, here is my thought for those of you in Broncos country and really around the NFL, and you've touched upon it. It's not getting there, it's staying there. That's the hardest part in the NFL. You can flip the script and you can do it quickly, and we've seen examples of that. The thing that I like about the way that Sean Payton has done it is that he's done it step by step. He's building that solid foundation on which to be successful. You've got to have year in and year out.
And he built it with $85 million in dead cap space.
Bingo.
And not having 3 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks.
And that's exactly right. He understands the biggest challenge is once you get there is staying there. And
everybody's coming back next year, pretty much except for JFM. And you would love to have him back, but they won't be able to afford him.
No, I don't think they probably will. And they've got and you've got to look at positions where you've built depth and guys that you've got faith in taking the next step, right? You know, Wazirike has made some really nice progress this year. We don't talk about it a lot because of the guys that are on that defensive front. But he's a guy I know that they like moving forward. But that's the challenge now. It'll be the challenge for the Bears. It'll be the challenge for the Patriots, who I do think are built to stay because Vrabel knows how to do it, right? Yeah. So, and I think Ben Johnson knows how to do it as well in Chicago. but that's the challenge in the NFL, staying power.
That's going to do it for us. Hot Takes Goodman and Haertl. Make it the best possible day you can.